Welcome back to the video series on test components. I am Stephen Duffy, Senior Systems Engineer here at Keysight. In this video, we will be diving into Session Sender. As you recall from previous videos, Session Sender is primarily used to test a device's capabilities to maintain TCP sessions. Two of the more popular ways that Session Sender is used in testing is through validating vendor white sheets and DDoS attacks. Okay, let's get started. We're first going to create a blank Session Sender template. Click on the pen and paper. The configuration options look a bit different from AppSim. The big difference is that you don't actually add any pre-built application profiles or superflows. This is due to Session Sender focused on layer 4 testing. The first part we're going to talk about is data rates. If the data rate unlimited is checked, this means no limitation based off of throughput will be administered. Now, if you do want to put a limit on throughput, uncheck the box. The data scope allows you to decide if the data limit is for the whole test or if it applies to each interface. Rate limit lets you choose from megabits per second or frames per second. Data rate type configures the fluctuation rate of your data. If you choose constant, then the only limiter is going to be the max throughput, which is the number you see highlighted here. If you do want fluctuation of your data, you should choose range or random. The difference of those is that random will choose a different rate between your minimum and maximum every 1/10 of a second. You just learned how to limit your test with data limits. Now let's learn how to limit your flows. Due to Session Sender's ability to not use pre-made application profiles or pre-made flows, it makes this part a lot easier. You do not have to figure out how many flows are in each superflow. Now back to the flow limitations. The maximum simultaneous superflows will indicate the max number of concurrent superflows that you're going to allow through. Again, remember that in Session Sender, superflows will equal flows. Maximum simultaneous active flows, you're not going to have to actually worry about this on Session Sender. Now, the next limiter is going to be one of the most important. Maximum superflows per second. This allows you to limit the rate at which BreakingPoint will create the new flows. This is very important because it is what's really going to impact your DUT. Now with that in mind, if you're not concerned with the rates per second, enable the unlimited superflow open rate, and we're going to be trying to open up those as fast as we can. But on the other hand, if you want to create a scenario where you're going to be closing flows and regenerating new flows as soon as possible, then you will want to click on Unlimited Superflow Close Rate. As we were saying before, since Session Sender is not using application profiles, we have to have a way to configure up the traffic. We're going to be able to do this through the next set of configuration options, and that's going to be with your payload and payload size distribution. Within payload, you get to choose your layer 4 transport. You get the choices of TCP, UDP, ICMP, or you can do a mixed variation of all. Your next option includes the type of payload. With this, you get to choose between random, 0, 1, HTTP, or user-defined. With random, the data is filled with random values. If you pick 0, all bits will be cleared. If you pick 1, all bits will be set. HTTP by default will set up a simple HTTP GET command. If you choose HTTP, then you also get to choose the type of request as well. Now, if you choose user-defined, you then get to input the data as a hexadecimal notation. Now with the payload size distribution, you get to choose how is the payload set up for each of your packets. You get to choose in between constant, range, and random. These work in very similar matters as what we discussed earlier with the data limiters. Now, like AppSim, you do have other configurations as well to include source port, destination, your TCP configuration, as well as several IPv4 and IPv6 configurations. And as we've previously stated in the past, if you're not sure what an option does, just come here and click on the question mark. Now let's go ahead and show you how to build out a quick load profile. The load profile comes pre-built with a default configuration to make it very quick and easy to use. For the easiest configuration, all you need to do is update the ramp up time, the steady state time, and the ramp down time. You do have other configurations as well to include what type of state do you want your connections to be in during the ramp up. Full open means a full TCP handshake. Then you get to choose during your steady state behavior, how do you want your completed connections to close, or do you want them to stay open? And then lastly, you get to choose as the test is winding down, how do you want the current open connections to be shut down? Do you want them to do a full close, or do you want them to just send a reset? We have now just completed a full session sender configuration. If you want to save it as a template, just go up here and click Save as Template, and it makes it very quick and easy for future test configurations. If you're interested in additional information, please reach out to jointhejourney@keysight.com.